Hey, my darling. So, I am wearing my husband's clothes. He is a Cancer, but I've been doing this all week. Not my husband's clothes, I do that often, but that I'm wearing black and red, the colors that are very Marsy. And so, right now, is in Cancer, and it moved into Cancer September 4th. It's there until November 3rd, but really it's going back and forth to Cancer over the next 6 months. Traditionally, we say this is a really hard aspect, and while that all could be true, as we move into a more creative, formative future, I think it's important that we play with these archetypes and say, okay, cool. Traditional astrology says, yeah, it's really hard, and yes, it is really hard. But let's talk about what it could look like from maybe a neutral position or even a positive position. So what I'm doing in my own life is I'm actually taking it up as a practice. So I'm trying to figure out some ways in my small daily life to see what I can do to nurture the will. In anthroposophy, Rudolf Steiner puts out these exercises that are supposed to strengthen the will. And very interesting, worth checking out. You can find them in The Knowledge of the Higher World, that book. And I find that they're great, I'm sure. But in your own understanding of what will is, can you ask yourself the question of how can I help my will and willpower grow in a way that nurtures, that is, well, good for the family, that's good for the inner life, that helps clear reflection. So these are themes that all would be in Cancer: reflectiveness of the moon, for instance, the nurturing like the mother, being nurtured like the child. And will, for me, always goes together with Aries. And of course, Mars. Now, we think of so often will just to fight physically, like, oh, come on, get your dukes up. But we want to understand that ironically, in this super materialistic world that we're in right now, most of us don't have to learn how to fight with our hands or even how to fight with our words and our actions. We actually want to learn how to fight on a totally different frontier where we're fighting our selfishness and we're trying to dominate over our base desires so that we can serve higher desires in our own individuality. And so that inward fighting, it doesn't work by just like, beating yourself up or trying to suppress everything. You have to really find instead this like nurturing, gentle, tender touch so that you can really work with these subtleties that live within you without having to cut off your own arm. How is it for you? Where in your life do you want to direct your will to be more generous, more nurturing, more kind? What would you do for yourself to help that grow?